Hello everyone, I'm thrilled to be part of that conf, and I have the chance to share my insights on one of the most exciting insertion of creativity and technology, algorithmic art using JavaScript. Um, I want to show you that JavaScript is not only a tool for development, but a medium for artistic expression as well. Let's dive into the journey together and explore the fascinating world where com becomes art. Think back when you were a child. Remember how naturally draw come into you? Doodles, the margin of the school notebook, crayons, papers, draw. Draw is the sand of the beach. What did draw mean to you back then? For many of us, drawing as a child was about pure creativity, a way to express ourselves without worrying about rules or being judged. It was about exploring our imagination freely. But as we grow older, many of us stop drawing. Why is that? Does the fear of imperfection creep in? Do we become too focused on what others think? Today, I want to invite you to reconnect with that creative freedom. It's time to use the power, the code. The table contents, I'm going to start get to know myself about me, how I am, how brought me to this point, why I'm passionate about that technology and art. Then I want to dive into what algorithmic art is, explain how algorithm and creative code come together to form unique blend of art and technology. Then I exploring a JavaScript library for creative coding like P5JS. And I want to introduce you the powerful of that library. Then I want to show you some resources of experimentation. As we near to the end of the talk, I offer soon some conclusion and reflections of how algorithmic art challenge our traditional idea of art. And finally, I provide my list of reference so you can explore this topic further and see the source behind the concept and idea we discussed today. Sorry. Yeah. Well, I'm Francisca Beatriz Medina Concha, and you can find me on my social networks. On LinkedIn, I'm listed by my full name, Francisca Beatriz Medina Concha. But if you prefer Instagram, you can find me on franny.b. Instagram is my main platform, so if you happen to take photos during this session or screenshots, I appreciate if you tag me. It's always too great to stay connected and share our creative journeys. My roles. I currently role as UX and front-end leader at LATAM Airlines. I'm responsible of overseeing the design and development of user interface with our data visualization team. My focus is on creating intuitive, user-friendly dashboards and tools that allows all teams across the company to make data-driven decisions. As a speaker, I've the opportunity to share my knowledge in a passion for technology conference like GSConf Chile, GSConf Budapest. I focus on topics that blend creative with code, and my talks are designed to inspire and educate others about exciting possibilities with programming, and always try to bring a human element into my presentations. As a volunteer for Women Tech Maker Chile, I support initiatives that empower women in technology through mentorship, education, and community building. Let me tell you more about who I am. My first career was designer, but I do as well web developer, teacher, and now leader. I always love to make art and crafts with my hands, so I'm definitely now a robot. And two, I'm cute and emotional persons who find joy in creativity both in digital and physical. I'm from Santiago de Chile, and Santiago is our capital, but it's important to know you that Santiago is not Chile. Chile is a long and diverse country with so much to offer beyond this capital. For those who's wondering, where exactly is Chile? Well, we're the southernmost country in the world. We speak in Spanish, so I want to apologize you in advance if my English isn't perfect. Thank you for understanding me as I present this talk in my second language. My personal motivations to talk about this topic today is start in my childhood. I was a child kid who loved art and dreamed to become an artist. That passion led me to study design at university, but during my time in university, I had a crisis. I started to feel maybe this wasn't this career design wasn't the path for me. Then I discovered web development, which rekindled my childhood love for creativity and building things. That turning point led me to course called Creative Programming for Design. I studied this course, and then I became teacher assistant in the class, inspired by one of my professors, Ricardo Vega. Ricardo Vega was the teacher of this class, and I through this journey, being teaching assistant, I made amazing connections, like my friend Valentina Gaete, who was one of the students of the class. Valentina went to a first master's degree in Germany about creative programming, and she always tells me that this class changed her life. That's why it's so important to me, this class, because I realized that this class and creative programming changed someone's life. My own preliminary thesis in the university was about algorithmic logos. De alguna forma, we sparked my interest in merging art with technology, art, design, and technology. Now, as a professor of myself, I always love to generate the same inspiration and opportunities that I receive in this class. I want to generate the curiosity of my students and open a new opportunity for themselves. My journey to where I am today has been anything but linear. When I started, I didn't imagine I would become team leader and a speaker in conference like this. I volunteer empowering women and girls in tech. There's a lot of possibilities with tech. It's important that realize that in where people that are coding or programming are not the same and have different abilities. So art is one of mine. So let's start with the basics. What is an algorithm? I'm sure most of you have come across the term, but let's sure we're all in the same page. An algorithm is an essential set of instructions, a step-by-step process for solving a problem or performing a task. It's like a recipe for a cake. There is a specific step you follow to reach to desired outcome. In the world of programming, algorithms are what make computers capable of performing complex operations. Whenever you realize it or not, algorithms are everywhere. For recommending that video, just show what's next. You control. Yeah, okay. And now is another big question. What is art? Defining art is something philosophers and artists have been debating for centuries, and there's no one answer. For some, art is about beauty and aesthetics. For others, it's about emotion or making statement. Art can be a way of seeing of the world, of expressing something that words can't capture. Here's some key aspect to consider. Sorry. Creative and expression, aesthetic value, mediums and forms, interpretation and perception, innovation and tradition, and cultural significances. The way we create and experience art has evolved dramatically in the recent years. With the rise of the digital technology, artists now can access tools that previous generation couldn't have imagined. Today, art isn't confined paint on canvas or sculptures in marble. It exists pixels, code, and even virtual spaces. Digital art allows us to blend mediums, collaborate in ways that were never possible before. The boundaries between art, design, and technology have become incredibly fluid, and algorithmic art is a perfect example of new frontier, where creativity meets computation. Algorithmic art represents a unique form of artistic expression where technology and programming play a fundamental role in the creation of the work. This type of art is notable for its ability to transform algorithmic and data into a visual and sensory experience, often challenging our traditional perception of art. It's a perfect example of how art and technology can merge ways that are both precise and poetic. It leverages the computational power of computer to create pieces of that would be impossible or at least extremely time-consuming to be by hand. Artists known as algorithms used to code the same algorithmics that generate visual works. These algorithms can produce intricate patterns, complex geometries, or even simulation of natural processes. And the beauty lies in the fact that often no two outputs are the same. The art evolves based on the algorithmic logic input and randomness. This is art that pushes the boundaries of what we traditionally think of creativity, offering new ways to explore and express ideas. An algorist is an artist who uses algorithms as a part of their creative process. But being an algorithm is more than just write code. It's about seeing code as a tool for expression. For these artists, algorithms become their paintbrushes and the computer screens their canvas. They use to code to generate art, creating everything from abstract designs to intricate visualizations. An algorithm doesn't just program for function, they program for beauty and meaning, embracing the unpredictable and precision that comes with algorithmic process. In September 1995, the term algorithm was coined by the artist Jean-Pierre Herbert. He wanted to describe artists who use algorithms as the primary tool for creative art. At the time, it was a new concept, combining the world of fine art with the precision of computer science. Herbert and others in the field recognized that algorithms would do more than solve mathematical problems. They could use to explore creative in new dynamic ways. His work set a stage for the explosion of digital art we are seeing today, and the term algorithm has become to symbolize the fusion of two worlds. If creation and an object of art and algorithm and on one's algorithmic include an algorithm. Else if there's no creation, or not object or art, or not algorithm, or no whose algorithms exclude, there's no algorithm. JavaScript is the most versatile and widely used programming language today. Originally created for adding interactive to websites, it has grown far beyond that. JavaScript now powers everything from web apps and to servers, and yes, it's become a powerful tool to create art too. What makes JavaScript special for our purpose is the flexible and accessible enough to be beginners to pick up quickly, but powerful enough for more complex artist projects. JavaScript is an incredible powerful language, but what makes even more versatile is the vast ecosystem of libraries. Seriously, there's a library for everything. So yes, JavaScript developers often joke that if there's a problem, there's probably already a library to solve it. But what about art? Yes, even for creating art, there's art libraries. Today, we'll focus on the one of those, P5GS library. This library was specifically designed to bring the power of coding into the hands of artists and creativities. Whether you are a designer, interactive visuals, generative patterns, or something completely unexpected, P5GS unlocks a world of artistic possibility through code. P5GS is a fantastic library created by Larry McCartney, and it was designed to make coding accessible for artists, designers, educators, and anyone interested in creative coding. Larry's vision was to make a tool that allows people create visual art with code without needing to be an expert programmer. It's built at top of processing, a popular framework used to creative coders, and it brings all of that powers into JavaScript ecosystem. In 2001, processing was developed by Cassie Rias and Ben Fry, data scientists. In 2001, Cassie Rias and Ben Fry, both students at the MIT Media Lab, create processing. Processing is based on Java, okay? Their goal was to develop a software schedule and a language that would serve electronic and visual design communities. Processing was designed to be an easy-to-use language for artists and designers, combining a visual programming environment with a simplified syntax, encourage experimentation and creativity. In 2008, Processing JS was developed by John Rising, programmer. In 2008, Ron Rising, known for his work on jQuery development Processing JS. It was JavaScript port of processing, allows processing code to run natively in web browsers without the need for Java plugins. Processing JS made it easier to integrate processing sketches into web pages and brought the capability of processing to broad audience. In 2013, P5GS was developed by Larry McCartney. Larry McCartney developed P5GS in 2013. P5GS is a JavaScript library that aims to make coding accessible for artists, designers, educators, and beginners. It's a reinterpretation of processing for the web with a focus of making coding more approachable and inclusive. That's between 2013 and 2015, updates to Java and processing itself create compatibility issues for processing JS. These updates make it challenging to maintain and use processing JS, leading to decline in this usage as the community began to shift towards more robust solutions like P5JS, which were better suited to the evolving web environment. In 2016, active developer of Processing JS has ceased, and the community developer recognized that P5JS was a more viable option for web-based visual and programming. P5JS provides more modern and versatile platform, prompting the focus to shift entirely towards its development and support. In 2018, the P5JS online editor was launched. This online editor made it even easier for users to start coding with P5JS without needing to install any software. The editor provides a user-friendly interface, fostering a collaborative, accessible environment for learning and creative coding. It became a significant resource for educators and learners worldwide. By 2020, both processing and P5.js were actively used and developed. Processing continued to evolve as a powerful tool for creative coding in Java, while P5.js thrived is at its JavaScript counterpart for Waze-based project. The ongoing development of full platform ensure that remains relevant and valuable resource for artists, designers, and programmers. Some strange about processing. Processing is Java was with its own IDE. Strength of processing is to use, have a good performance, have a big community and libraries, and is a desktop application. The weakness about processing that the web integration and the modern JavaScript ecosystem. By its own, P5.js is a JavaScript library, often used with web-based IDE or integrate into web projects. The strengths as the web integration, the accessibility, the JavaScript ecosystem that leverage the power of the modern JavaScript ecosystem, including tools, library, and frameworks. And learning resource, extensive documentation and tutorials, particularly suited for beginners learning code through creative projects. And that's. With P5.js, you are still using the same JavaScript basic, functions, variables, loops, and logic, just like any other program. But here's exciting part. Instead of outputting data or performing calculation, you're creating visual experience directly on a canvas. When you use P5.js, it generates an HTML file with a canvas element, and that canvas becomes your virtual page. Okay, thank you. Bueno, you generate an HTML file with a canvas element, and that canvas becomes your virtual paper. Everything you can draw, animate, or interact with it happens inside their canvas, allowing to bring your code live in a visual way. Functions like setup and draw are essentially defining what appears on the canvas. Setup runs once, like you're setting the stage, and draw is where the action happens. It's the function that gets called continues to create animation or update your visual frame by frame. Essentially, every line of code you write is an instruction for what get drawn into that canvas, making code direct and creative process. This is an example from P5.js website that create a star shape. Is simply basic geometric principles and loops to generate points on a star, replacing each vertex with precise mathematical accuracy. By rotating and scaling, you can create a pattern that feels both calculated and organic at the same time. One of the most exciting aspects of P5.js is the ability to create interactive experience with a few lines of code. You can make your artwork respond to user input, like mouse, keyboard, or even sound. I'm going to faster, so that's why I'm generate this faster to the panel. P5.js is a particular well suited for generate geometric patterns, which are often visually captivating and mathematical precise. The combination of shapes like circles, squares, and triangles with loops and transformations, you can create intricate design that will be incredibly difficult to draw by hand. Fractals and interactive systems are other fascinating areas to explore with P5.js. Data visualization is another exciting application of P5.js. By mapping your data, your visual elements like shape, colors, and size, you can create visual representation of complex datasets that are easier to understand. P5.js can also be used to simulate natural phenomena. From the movement of particles to behavior of flock birds, you can model real-world systems using code. Randomness is a key and ingredient in many forms of algorithmic art. By incorporating randomness into your code, you can create pieces that are never the same twice. Beyond just reacting to user input, P5GS allows for full interactive generation, where the user actively shapes and the artwork. One of the most famous examples of algorithmic art is Conway's Games of Life, which is a type of cellular automation. In this simulation, simple rules dictate where the cell on a grid is alive or dead. And from those rules, incredibly complex patterns emerge over time. Now we cover a wide range of possibilities. I want to share some resources that will help you dive deeper into the world of algorithmic art with P5GS. One of the best platforms to explore and share your P5GS creation is Open Processing. It's an online community where artists and coders share their project, providing inspiration and learning opportunities. Let's look at the sketch Open Processing. Use basic shape, repetition, and randomness to create an organic looking pattern. Next, we have this example. You can create fluid continuous motion, simulates particles moving across the canvas influenced by invisible force like gravity or wind. Finally, let's look at that example that use randomness to generate abstract shapes, but also add parameters that control with the shapes evolve over time. As we see today, algorithmic art is a powerful way to merge creativity and technology. It allows to explore new forms of expression where the artist and the code collaborate to create something unique. What excites me most about this field is the challenge the traditional ideas of art. I invite us to see beauty in logic, in randomness, and in unexpected. Algorithmic art reminds us that creativity doesn't have to be confined to paintbrushes or sculpting tools. It also lives in the code we write. I know I've covered a lot of ground today, and if you want to deeper, there's some excellent resources that I've referenced through this talk. And finally, if you want to enjoy this talk and want to see more of my work, or if you have questions about getting started with algorithmic art, feel free to follow me on Instagram. I love to stay connected and see what amazing creations you come up. Thank you so much.